like to invite Sarah, who is going to be our bat mitzvah tomorrow, together with her family, to lead us over the blessings, over the candles, and the fruit of the vine. Please turn to page 2 for the blessing for the candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, souvenir of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
for the blessing for the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Praise to you, Adonai our God, souvenir of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Kivanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol amin v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadosh HaShabbat. Amen.
And we have birthday blessings for those who are celebrating their birthdays in the month of July. Do we have anyone who is celebrating that? So please rise. If you're celebrating your birthday in the month of July, we even have candy for you. And we say for all of you.
A few extra people stood up.
Well, candy is
It's a motivator.
We say to all of you, Mazal Tov, meaning good luck. And we say to all of you, Arachamanu yechadesh aleinu ve'alechem et hashana hazo letova u'livracha. May the merciful one renew this year for goodness and for a blessing. And we say to you, may you live to be at least 120 and always feel like you're only 20. And we say to you, may this coming year be filled with health, happiness, kindness, peace, growth, and learning as we sing to you Yom Holedet Sameach.
Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach, Yom Holedet Sameach.
Rabbi, one more.
Oh, there we go. And many more.
And we turn to page
לך דודי.
לך דודי.
לך דודי, לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, הנה שבת נקבלה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
We rise as we turn to page 28 for the Berlow. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, forcefully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch Ata Adonai, Amariv Aravim. We turn to page 34 for the calling of the Shema. Please be seated.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
And we read together, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. And we turn to page 40 to sing together Mi Chamocha. And we read together on the bottom of page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem, yours. Baruch ata Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום, עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Please rise for the tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואימותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, God of our fathers and mothers. God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, God of Sarah, God of Rebekah, God of Rachel, and God of Leah, the great, mighty, and awesome God, transcendent God, who bestows loving kindness, creates everything out of love, remembers the love of our fathers and mothers, and brings redemption to their children's children for the sake of the divine name. Sovereign deliverer, helper, and shield, blessed are you, Adonai, Sarah's helper, Abraham's shield. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You rain dew upon us. You sustain life through love, giving life to all. Through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. And we read together on page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated as we turn to page 61 for the blessing, for shalom, for peace and wellness and wholeness. Please join me. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses. Baruch atah Adonai, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Take a moment for a silent prayer. Turn to page 253 for the Misha Berach, the prayer for healing and courage and strength in our lives. We name in our hearts those we know who need healing and courage and strength as we sing together the words of the Misha Berach. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So Jewish tradition has a lot of wisdom in it, and one of the wisest things that our ancestors did is take all the days where we remember and commemorate the worst things in our history and put them all on one day. It's the 9th day of Av. It's the most difficult day in the Jewish year. We remember all the worst things that happened to us in our history, including 2 times that Israel was destroyed, the temple was destroyed, Jerusalem was destroyed, and in both times it was our own fault. It was Jewish self-destruction that destroyed our own society, our own city, our own temple, and our own state. And the government of Israel, in its wisdom, decided on this difficult week, on the eve of Tisha B'Av, to bring the most controversial law in the history of Israel, in 75 years of Israel, into the Israeli parliament. 64-0, because the opposition walked out in protest. At the same time that millions of Israelis for 7 months, and right now in the last few weeks in scorching heat, I just came back from Israel from 3 weeks of the worst heat wave in the history of Israel. People were marching in the streets, including 80,000 people that were marching all the way from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem on the highway during the day, protesting against the judicial overhaul package that the government has declared in what seems to be a war against the state of Israel and the people of Israel, a war against democracy, because the majority of Israelis, including the majority of the voters of the Likud, which is the majority party in the coalition, are against those laws. So as Israelis were terrified, and it's hard to imagine how terrified they were. I have never seen friends and family members as afraid, not only to the country, but for their own well-being, for their own pensions, for their own future. As they were terrified, the government totally ignored it and brought the most extreme version of this law that says that from now on the Supreme Court will not have the right to overrule decisions that seem totally unreasonable to them, like the last decision that it annulled was to appoint a convicted criminal that sat in jail and was convicted twice, including once just this year for tax evasion, this time for bribery the last time, to a minister in two extremely important offices. You know, this is a special Shabbat. We have two names for this Shabbat. Usually we have only one name. The Shabbat is named after the Torah portion, but this week we have two names. The Torah portion is called Va'etchanan, which means and I begged, and the Haftarah is called Nachamu, bring me comfort. So this Shabbat is called both the Shabbat that I'm begging and the Shabbat of comfort. And you could almost hear the scream from every corner street in Israel, begging for comfort and not really finding it from our own government. This is 7 months to a government that the majority of Israelis see as the worst government in our history. What there is no doubt and no argument, even among the supporters of the government, that this is the most right-wing government, the most fundamentalistic government, the most zealot government, the most anti-LGBTQ government in the history of Israel. There are actually two parties that part of their platform is homophobic. They proudly are homophobic. It's not me blaming them. They are proud of that. One of those parties that has 14 members out of the 64 put on a commercial where every member declared that they are anti-LGBT people and their rights. This is the most orthodox, religious Jewish Orthodox government in our history, the most nationalistic government in our history, and the most manly government in our history. We never had so many men in the government. What they seems to be at least they're calling themselves the most patriotic government. In an ironic situation, this is also the government where the majority of the men serving as ministers did not serve in the Israeli army. Now, unlike the American army, in Israel you don't get a choice. So you have to weasel your way, excuse my language, out of the army. But many of them manage to make their way out of their army, but they're so patriotic. By the way, 2 of them were not drafted because they've seen by the army as a danger. One of them, who happens to be the Minister of National Security, who's in charge of the police, was convicted 8 times, set in jail on acts of terrorism. He was convicted, by the way, by an Israeli court, and he's now in charge of our national security. A situation that once was inconceivable have become the daily nightmare of Israelis. And the Israeli discourse is dealing with saving the democracy of Israel, saving the identity of Israel, saving Israel and what it means to be an Israeli from its government. And for the first time in 75 years of Israel, this wonderful country that we are so proud of, this miracle of the 20th century, after the Holocaust, we have our own sovereign Jewish state, our own democratic Jewish state. For the first time, there are Israelis who believe that maybe we will not hold the society together again. And there are many Israelis that believe that all the truths that the society was glued together by do not exist anymore. You know, Both my parents fought in the Israeli War of Independence in 1948 and were there when the country was established. And my mother always told me that 1948 and 1949 were the best years of her life. And she added, not because I was young and beautiful, and pictures will prove that she was young and beautiful in 1948 and 1949, and not because all of my life was ahead of me. And even though there were such huge sacrifices, I went twice with my parents to the museum that is dedicated to the Palmach, the part of the army that they were at, and they were crying the entire time because all of their best friends were killed fighting for the state of Israel. But she said there was such optimism, and we knew that we're creating a Jewish state, a Jewish democratic state that will be based on justice, on righteousness, on a judicial system that would be a light to the nation. And Jews, for the first time in so many years, will bring blessing to the world. And now, so many parts of Israeli society don't believe that that is the truth anymore. I went to 4 protests in the 2.5 weeks that I was in Israel, and in one of them, Eshkol Nevo, the grandson of Levi Eshkol, who was the prime minister during 1967, spoke. And he was here, by the way, in our congregation. He's a writer, he's an author, and he spoke here from this pulpit. And he mentioned in the protest that all of a sudden in the middle of the day he starts crying. And he realizes that he's in a state of mourning for the state of Israel, for what his father and grandfather and his family built for so many years. And what we're seeing in front of our eyes, you know, Jews are such a smart people. We survived for 4,000 years against all odds. We bring so many great values to the world. We bring so many good things. There are Jews that brought so many wonderful things that have to do with science and culture and wisdom, but we're also very good in self-destruction. And it is frightening how good we are here. I want to say something about us in Louisville, because otherwise I'll just go on and on and on. We have the American flag on our bima, and we have the Israeli flag on our bima. This is a post-Holocaust phenomena that we have. Well, it took longer for us here in this temple, but around North America, it's a post-Holocaust phenomena that we have 2 flags and not 1 flag, the American flag and the Israeli flag there. And think about it, you'll go to every synagogue, or almost every synagogue, doesn't matter which movement, doesn't matter which kind of Jews, and you will see those 2 flags in North America, or at least in the United States. In the holiest place in the community, the holiest place in the synagogue, you see those 2 flags that shows our connection to our Jewish and democratic state. And it's time for us to develop 2 voices, 2 strong voices. One that keeps defending Israel and defending it from everyone who says that there is no right for Israel to exist as a Jewish state. And the other one, not less loud or less strong, is the one that sharply criticizes the government of Israel, which I hate to say, it's an evil government that is trying to make Israel into a criminal state that we will be ashamed of, and we have to stand against her. And the model should be the model of the protest in Israel. You know how Israelis go out to the streets to protest against the government? They cover themselves with the Israeli flag, showing that this is not against the state, it's against the government and for the state of Israel. And we should be part of that movement, helping them. The backbone of the demonstrations and the protests are Israeli reserves, people who do reserves in the Israeli army. When I did reserves, we didn't have a choice, everybody did. But apparently things have changed, and now it's on a volunteer base, and it's only elite units that do that. And you have tens of thousands of those pilots and cyber fighters and intelligent reservists that are there. 80% of Israelis who do reserve duty are part of the protest movement, telling you who is there. It's not the radical left or the radical liberal left or anything like that. It's the central part of Israelis that are demonstrating because of the government attack on Israel's democracy and on the essence of what Israel is as a Jewish and democratic state. And for 7 months, they're there every week, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. Millions of Israelis, and we have the right and the obligation to support those good people that are fighting for our sovereign Jewish state, sovereign democratic Jewish state. Shabbat Shalom.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. Join me. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday. God will see us through. God will see us through. God will see us through someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe that we shall overcome someday.
Our fourth turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember especially Jose Maza, Henry Berg Brousseau, David Sean Bailey, Paula Erdley, Gertrude H. Miller, Celia Rice, Harold A. Rosen, Ruth Steinberg, Ira Uslander, Robert Bronner, Mary Helen Bick, David Flexner, Helen Natkin Fuchs, Sylvia Goldstein, Earl Grabfelder, David Karp, Grace Levy, Helen Starr, Rita Tovlin, Jean Zimov, Robin Abrams, Elliot Joseph Bass, Kathy Jean Dworin, Irvin Feldman, Anna Marks, Zalman Ace, Matthew Veroff, Cheryl Klein, Leo Weil, Michael Guzakov, Sophia Waterman. And in recent days, we remember Tom Sobel and Anatoly Toli Gottlieb. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, with the blessed memories in our hearts of the loved ones we miss so much and we lost. We rise as we turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. זיכרונם לברכה. May the memory of our loved ones come to be a blessing and a benediction to us all. Amen. Our closing song is Oseh Shalom, the last words of the Kaddish. We ask God to bring peace and wellness and wholeness to all humanity. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אמותינו, שתוליכנו לשלום. May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, that we be guided on the paths of shalom, of wholeness and peace and well-being and wellness, that you protect us from all harm and evil on our way. Bless the work of our hands, and grant us grace, loving kindness, and compassion in your eyes, in the eyes of everyone who sees us. Adonai Shalom, bless us all with a Shabbat of Shalom. Shabbat to our Shalom to our bodies, to our souls, and to our minds. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please say Shabbat Shalom to someone you never met before and to those you do know. Please join us at the Oneg in honor of Sarah, our Bat Mitzvah, and the women of Reform Judaism. Thank you.